Imagine you wake up tomorrow with $1 billion. A billion. Not a million. A billion. You buy the mansion. You buy the supercar. You buy the yacht. And somehow, you still have hundreds of millions left. At this point, most people would stop. But Bob isn't most people. Bob had a different question. How rich could one person actually get? And more importantly, what's stopping him from owning everything? Bob starts with $1 billion, which sounds like unlimited money. Until he starts shopping. A private jet, gone. A mega yacht, gone. A few mansions, gone. Suddenly Bob realizes something. $1 billion is rich. But it's not own the world rich. Not even close. So Bob does what every reasonable person would do. He decides to make more money. And that's where things get dangerous. Because money works differently when you already have a lot of it. Most people make money by working. Bob doesn't like working, so he buys businesses instead. A restaurant, a factory, a software company, a bank. Every day Bob wakes up, and while he's sleeping, those businesses keep making money. At first, Bob earns thousands, then millions, then billions. Now Bob isn't buying things anymore. He's buying the companies that make the things. And that's when he notices something strange. The richer he gets, the easier it becomes to get even richer. So Bob keeps going. $10 billion, $50 billion, $100 billion. At this point, Bob can buy almost anything. Entire office buildings, sports teams, airlines, huge chunks of cities. But Bob isn't satisfied. He wants more. So he starts buying stock. A little piece of thousands of companies. Now, whenever people buy phones, Bob makes money. Whenever people order food, Bob makes money. Whenever people buy groceries, Bob makes money. Whenever people watch videos online, Bob makes money. Bob has turned the entire economy into his personal piggy bank. And for a while, it looks like there is no limit. But then Bob hits his first real wall, because something bizarre happens when you try to buy everything. The price starts running away from you. Imagine there's a company worth $1 billion. Bob buys it. Now he wants another, and another, and another. Eventually people realize what Bob is doing. Suddenly, nobody wants to sell, unless Bob pays more, and more, and more. The closer Bob gets to owning everything, the more expensive everything becomes. It's like trying to buy every pizza in town. The first few are cheap. The last one costs a fortune. But Bob doesn't care. He keeps buying. Companies, land, factories, apartment buildings, office towers, shopping centers, power plants, farms, ports. Anything that makes money. Eventually, Bob realizes something. Owning things is powerful, but owning things that make money is even more powerful. Every dollar he earns buys more assets, and every asset earns more dollars. The machine is feeding itself. Now Bob isn't worth $100 billion. He's worth several hundred billion, more than entire countries, more than millions of people combined. And still, he keeps going. At this point, Bob has spent years trying to answer one question. How rich could one person actually get? Not theoretically. Actually. So let's find out. Today, the richest people on earth are worth hundreds of billions of dollars. Not millions, not tens of billions, hundreds. Enough money to buy sports teams, skyscrapers, private islands, and still have billions left over. But Bob isn't interested in today's limit. He wants the maximum, the absolute ceiling. So he keeps buying, and buying, and buying. Eventually Bob discovers something strange. The richer he becomes, the harder it gets to measure his wealth. Because most wealth isn't cash. It's ownership. Ownership of companies, ownership of land, ownership of assets. And when you add up all the valuable assets on Earth, the number gets ridiculous. We're not talking billions anymore. We're not even talking hundreds of billions. We're talking trillions, thousands of billions. If Bob somehow owned massive portions of the world's businesses, real estate, infrastructure, resources, and investments, his wealth could theoretically climb into the tens of trillions of dollars, more wealth than every billionaire alive combined, by a lot. So that's the answer. How rich could one person actually get? Probably somewhere in the tens of trillions of dollars, maybe even more. But here's the twist. The moment Bob actually gets close to that number, it starts becoming meaningless, because the value of everything he owns depends on other people, workers, customers, investors, tenants, businesses. The economy isn't valuable because stuff exists. It's valuable because people use it. A factory with no workers is worthless. An apartment with no tenants is worthless. A business with no customers is worthless. So the closer Bob gets to owning everything, the less valuable ownership itself becomes, which means Bob finally gets his answer. No matter how rich one person becomes, they can never truly own the entire economy, because the economy isn't just buildings, companies, and money. It's people. And without them, all of Bob's trillions would be worth absolutely nothing. So while one person could become unbelievably rich, possibly tens of trillions of dollars rich, the real limit isn't money. It's everyone else.